Good morning. Today's video is going to be about language usage. So I'll be covering about nouns and pronouns. I doubt that I get to verbs for today, but that is so far what I'm going to get to. When we return from spring break, then we will pick up where I left off. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my language usage. And we're going to start off by talking about nouns. So everything in the world around us has a name. The name of a person, place, or thing is called a noun. We use nouns to name anything that can be sensed, as well as ideas and feelings. So for example, wisdom, happiness, sadness, depression, anything like that. All right. So person, place, thing, and then ideas and feelings. All right. So here's a good example. Filled with anxiety, the explorer slowly crawled into the cave. All right, so anxiety would be a noun because it is a feeling. Explorer, of course, is a person. And then cave would be a thing. So you've got three nouns here. Now, in the above example, all the nouns here are singular. And what that means is that they name only one person, place, thing, or idea. Now, nouns can also be plural. And what that means is basically it's going to name any noun that is more than one. All right. So many times plural nouns end in S or even ES. So in this below example right here, the explorer saw bats on the ceiling and spiders on the floor. All right. So when we look at the word explorer, of course, it is a noun because it's a person. It is singular. Bats is a thing, but there's more than one bat. So that would be plural. There is the word ceiling, which is a thing, and it is singular because you're only talking about one ceiling as opposed to ceilings with an extra S on the end. Spiders, of course, plural, and the word floor, that is going to be singular. It's only one floor. Okay. And it says right here, however, the plurals of some nouns are formed in unusual ways. So plural forms such as the following must be memorized. And this is just a quick list, of course. There's many more, all right? But man, if you're talking about one man and you're going to change it to plural, that would become men. So the reason why that they wanted to point these out is because there's going to be some kind of major shift in the vowel or in the spelling. Okay. Typically, like I said, if you go from singular to plural, you're just going to add S. So these are the few that are just different. You're going to go from woman, which is one, to more than one woman, which is women. You've got child to children. And of course, there's supposed to be a cutoff right in between here, but there's not a space there. So you can have one mouse, or you can have many mice, and then foot, then feet. So if you've got 1 foot, all right, that you're talking about, maybe your foot hurts, or maybe your feet hurt. All right. And then tooth is singular, and then teeth is more than one tooth, right? All right. And then Nouns can then also be common nouns. All right. And common nouns are more general, a general name for any noun. And remember, person, place, thing, idea, or feeling. Okay. So when going into the cave, the explorer carried several flashlights. Now, these are all general nouns. That means basically that they do not need to be capitalized unless it's the first word of the sentence. Then it always needs to be capitalized. All right. So there may be a question that might trip you up a little bit. So just be aware that if I said something like camels, whoops, are my new favorite animal. All right. The word camels, it is plural, but it is a general noun. Typically, that word does not get capitalized. So it is common, but it happens to be capitalized just because it's the very beginning word of the sentence. Okay. As opposed to the proper noun. Now, the proper noun is the name of a particular person, place, thing. All right. And when you have a proper noun, that means the noun needs to be capitalized at all times. Okay. So you're going to begin each important word in a proper noun with a capital letter. Okay. So for example, a person's name would be a proper noun. So Lucia. Lucia will visit Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky. So I'm going to go to the whiteboard and I'm going to show you some differences between common nouns and proper nouns. So we can kind of form a list of them so we can kind of see the differences. Okay. Mammoth Cave National Park, that is the name of an actual place that people would visit, of course. And so if you were just saying, I'm going to the park, then of course, park would be a common noun. Okay. And then of course, the word Kentucky is the name of a state. It is a place, but it is a proper noun. So let's go ahead and form a list here of common nouns. Okay, so starting off with some simple words, if you look around and you see anything that's a thing, okay, of course, you're going to go ahead and write it down. All right, so if I see a pen, a pencil, a blanket, all right, a television, all right, I know I spelled that wrong, I'm sorry. And let's say a fan. I'm looking around, I see a wall, I see a pillow that I'm leaning on, all right. I've got my phone, all right. If I was to say a place, okay, and I want to talk about a common noun for a place, again, the word park, all right. I can say I went to school today. Okay. And let's see. If I was talking about particular roads, maybe I played in the road. Okay. Road, of course, would be a common noun, so it would not be capitalized. The name street. Okay. These are just general words. Now, on the other side, for proper nouns, if you was to name a street, like Meridian Street or Meridian Road, then of course that would be on the other side. If we say, I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, okay, then doctor would be lowercase. Let's see, if you're talking about a government position and you're just talking in general about, I don't like the new senator, okay, or I don't like the new governor, all right, then that's going to be a common noun. Let's see, there's so many. Table, all right, picture. There's going to be more that I'm going to add to this list as I think about it. Also, if you've ever been to the ocean or you've talked about or referred to an ocean, like my best friend just came back from the ocean, okay, you're not naming a particular ocean, okay, or maybe you're talking about a sea, SEA, then that would also not be capitalized. Okay, let's go over and, oh, you know what? And then a place where you might eat is a restaurant, okay? Food, of course, is a noun because it's a thing. I'm going to go over here and take a look, and we'll start coming up with proper nouns. Okay, so if I had a name of a particular doctor and I said, Dr. Williams, I could even spell out Dr. Williams. And of course, that would be a proper noun. Let's see, if I said, again, Meridian Street, Meridian Road, and then let's say I went to the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. And so we're naming particular places. All right. If I wanted to name it a business like Walmart, that's a place, but it's a particular place. All right. If you've ever been to Olive Garden or let's say McDonald's, okay, those would be proper nouns as well. Let's see. If we named a particular school, and let's say we have North Central High School, we're going to capitalize every single word in that school. Okay. Let's see. As for let's say a park, we just named a national park, but let's just say that we're going to go to a park. Let's say Disney Park. All right. Or maybe, let's see, we can go to the Smoky Mountains National Park. All right. So those are just to name a few right there. All right. All right, so let's go back and we're going to get some practice. It says here that you need to underline the singular nouns in each sentence and then circle the plural nouns. Remember that some plural nouns may have more than one word. Okay, so for example, in this sentence number 1, the children drew pictures on the sidewalk. So we need to find all the nouns. Remember, we're going to underline the singular nouns and circle the plural. So I see the word children. All right. And children would be a plural noun. All right. So we're looking for words that are person, place, thing, feeling, or idea. So we have the word pictures, and that is also plural. And then the third noun in this sentence is sidewalk. Now that is going to be singular. So we're only going to underline it. There's only one sidewalk. Okay. Number 2, pioneers crossed the Great Plains in covered wagons. So pause your screen and take a moment to underline and circle all of the nouns. Okay, hopefully you circled the word pioneers. That is that is a person or people, okay, and it is plural. The word Great Plains, okay, that is plural. Of course, again, that is a place, and it is actually this is actually a proper noun, but it is plural. Okay, so I did want to point that out. And then your last word is going to be wagons. And of course, that is a plural noun. Now, if you're wondering what some of the other words in here are, okay, crossed is a verb. It is an action verb. And the word covered. Now, the word covered, it at first glance, it looks like it could be an action verb, right? But actually it's in front of a noun, and this right here is an adjective. Okay, we just finished up the M level and we talked about adjectives. Okay, and adjectives modify only nouns and pronouns. Okay, so what kind of wagons did you have? You had covered wagons. Now, number 3, Miller's department store is having a sale on sheets and blankets. So go ahead and pause your screen and underline and circle your nouns. All right, for number 3, Miller's department store. Now, this is only one store, so it's considered a noun because it's a place. So we're going to underline it since it's going to be singular. All right, the word sale is a noun and it is singular. And then sheets and blankets. Now, these are things, but they are plural. So we're going to circle all of our plural nouns. All right. Number 4, let's see. Candace pointed out the stars of the Big Dipper. All right, so Candace is the name of a person, okay? And it is only one person's name. So of course it would be singular. Now that is a proper noun right there, but we're not, referring, we're not underlining or marking them unless you want to. So that Candace is a singular noun. The next one would be stars. Okay. And since it is a thing, it's more than one because it has the S on the end. I'm going to circle it because it is a plural noun. All right. And the last one is Big Dipper. Now, this is a singular noun. It is you could call it a place or a thing. All right. Depending on how you're referring to it. But Big Dipper would be singular because there's only one. Also, Big Dipper would be considered a proper noun because it is capitalized. Okay, so you can go ahead and do the rest on your own and then check your work. Okay, next page. Right here, it says on the line beside each common noun, write a matching proper noun. So for example, if you had a common noun, the word author, okay, someone who writes a book, All right. You might use the proper noun Mark Twain in place of it. All right. So there's 10 of these. Let's do about 3 of them. These are pretty easy. Let's see. The name of a country. So go ahead and take a moment. Think of the name of a country. Make sure that you do capitalize it since it is a proper noun. And I'm going to choose Germany. All right. Let's see. The name of a document. And it's got to be a proper noun. So you're going to capitalize it. I'm going to say Declaration of Independence. All right. And the word we're going to learn in just a minute, the word that's in the middle, we're going to learn that that is an article and it is not important. It's not really an important word that we would need to capitalize if it falls in the middle of a title of some kind or like 4th of July. Okay. So that is going to remain uncapitalized. Okay. I could also say another name of a document is the U.S. Constitution. So there's 2 names of documents. I'm going to go for something really easy here. I'm going to say the name of a city. All right. So the name of a city, I'm going to say Chicago. Now, it could be any city around the entire world that you choose. Okay. All right. Now, this says right here, we have numbers 11 through 20. So we'll do just a few of these. These are open-ended. Okay. As long as you follow the directions, there's not really a way to check your answers. Okay. Because like I said, this is open-ended. So one of you may say one thing, someone else might have a completely different answer, and it's okay. So we're going to fill in the blank to complete the sentence with, it's going to say in parentheses, proper noun, plural, singular. All right. And it might even say common. Yeah, common noun. All right. So you get to pick any word that you want. Number 11, after the MC introduced blank, the crowd cheered. So take a moment, pause the screen, and think of a proper noun. All right. So this is most likely going to be a person's name, right? Because someone is being introduced here. So I'm going to go ahead and put down the name of a celebrity. I don't know him very well, but Mike Tyson. All right. Former boxer. Okay. And let's do number 12, bringing blank onto public transportation is forbidden. And this needs to be plural. We're probably talking about a thing. Okay. I could say bringing cookies onto public transportation is forbidden. All right. Bringing, let's see, tomatoes onto public transportation is forbidden. Now that sounds a little funny, but you know what? It is a plural noun. Okay, so it would work. All right, let's go for number 13. The blank has not been working properly for days. Now this has to be a singular noun. So go ahead and pause your screen. All right, so this is going to be one particular thing. The blank has not been working properly for years or for days, okay? So I'm going to say the oven. All right, the oven, I could say the dishwasher, the stove, the microwave. All right, the dryer has not been working properly for days. Number 14, when I have to speak to a large audience, I am filled with blank. Now, this is going to be a common noun, so that means that it will not be capitalized, of course. Okay. And then also, this is going to be a noun that would be more of a filling. So I am filled with, I'm going to say anxiety. Okay, I am filled with anxiety. I'm going to say also happiness. When I have to speak to a large audience, I am filled with happiness. Okay, most people probably wouldn't be, but that is another name for a filling. Okay, so what I want you to do is finish these on your own, and we'll move on to the next page. All right, now this one has a little bit of capitalization inside of it. We have worked on capitalization, but it's been maybe a couple months at least since we've done so. But this is also has to do with common nouns and proper nouns. Okay, so the first sentence right here, what you're going to do if the nouns in each sentence are not capitalized properly, rewrite the sentence correctly on the line. If the nouns are capitalized correctly, then we're just going to write correct on the line. So let's take a look. Number one, the Olympic Games are held every 4 years. So see if there's any issues with this sentence. Now, the word Olympic Games, this is a proper noun because it is an event, it's a thing, all right? And it does need to be capitalized, so it is capitalized correctly. There is, however, one mistake in this problem, all right? And that is the word years. It needs to be lowercase because it is a common noun. It's common, but it is plural. Okay. Number two, how much does the Westlake Children's Zoo charge for admission? Go ahead and pause your screen and look at this problem. All right, so since we are talking about a particular zoo, which would be Westlake Children's Zoo, we need to make sure that all 3 words, because they are all important words, that they're all capitalized because this is a proper noun and it is singular because it's one particular zoo. So we're going to capitalize the word children's. And then your next mistake in number 2 is going to be the word admission. Now, the word admission needs to be lowercase. It is a noun, all right, but it is a common noun. It does not need to be capitalized. All right, I'm going to go down to number 4. All right, so number 4, Marian Anderson served the United States as a delegate to the United Nations. Go ahead and pause your screen and do number 4. All right, so Marian Anderson, that's the name of a particular person. So that is a proper noun. And since the A is lowercase in Anderson, we do need to capitalize that word. That is her last name, so it's going to have a capital A. Now, United States is, of course, a particular place. It is a proper noun, and it needs to be capitalized for all of its important words. So United States, so the S needs to be capitalized. Now, the word delegate is a noun. It is a common noun, all right? And it's correct, as is. The last thing that is the last item here for number 4 would be the United Nations. All right. So that is a particular organization. So we would need to capitalize both words. So United Nations. All right. As for, again, any states, countries, cities, or towns, you would need to make sure that they are also capitalized. They are proper nouns. Okay. And then a person's name. So if you have a person's initial, you do need to capitalize that as well. Okay. So you can go ahead and finish all 7 problems. And this right here, I'm going to make this optional. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do one of them though. And actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the last one because it looks pretty hard. All right. So what we need is we need one proper noun. Okay. We need one singular common noun. And we need one plural common noun. So I am going to start off with the proper noun, and I'm going to say Marie. All right, and I've got to think of a singular common noun. Marie forgot her key. So she, and I've got to have one plural common noun. So I'm going to say, let's see. So she tried. So she tried to drive back to her, let's see. She tried to drive back to her neighborhood. I don't want to get too heavy here. She tried to drive back to her friend's neighborhood. Okay. I can even say she drove back. That's probably a better way to say that. Say that. So she drove back to her friend's neighborhood. All right. So friends, of course, I'm going to be using as a plural common noun. Okay. That one was more difficult, of course. So if you want to try to attempt one or two of those, by all means, go ahead and do that. Here is the checkup. Now, there are a couple here that I want to go ahead and try to do with you. All right. How about number 4? The children sat watching the puppets for 20 minutes. All right. So the word sat, would this be a singular common noun, a singular proper noun, a plural common noun, or would it be none of these? So go ahead and pause your screen. All right, so your answer to number 4 would be none of these. Actually, the word sat is an action verb. All right, so that would not be a noun at all. So that's why the choice would be none of these. All right, let's see if we can get one more here. All right, how about number 8? Julia is saving money to get her teeth straightened. All right, would teeth be singular common noun, singular proper noun, plural common noun, or none of these? So go ahead and pause your screen. All right, so your answer to number 8, teeth, that would be plural. It's more than one tooth, right? So we're looking for something that is plural. And F does not say plural. G does not say plural. Now H says plural. It is considered also a common noun because it is not capitalized. So it would be H for your answer. Okay. Next thing we're going to look at is personal pronouns. Now, personal pronouns, we've run into a lot of pronouns lately when we were doing the M level. And there would be some fairly common times where students would forget that when we were looking at verbs and adjectives and adverbs, and we were trying to kind of weed out what other words would be for their grammar. Okay. A lot of students would forget, no, those are pronouns. Typically, your pronouns are very small. Okay. So, for example, Tina forgot Tina's list when Tina went to the grocery store. Now, the repetition of Tina's name in this sentence becomes kind of awkward and what we might say monotonous. Okay. Monotonous is something that is repeated over and over. Sometimes at work, if you have a job maybe in fast food or something where you really don't get time to stop and think about what you're doing, or maybe communicate with other people very often, you may just be very, very busy and really kind of into your job and you're not really thinking about it. You just kind of are like a robot. So, factory jobs can sometimes be like that too. Okay. There's many jobs that could be like that. So that is what I mean by monotonous, something that is kind of automatic and kind of becomes boring. All right. Now, using pronouns in place of her name, Tina, improves the sentence. So we can say, Tina forgot her list when she went to the grocery store. So it sounds much, much better instead of saying Tina, 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 right? So these words are examples of pronouns. Now, pronouns are words used in place of nouns. Okay. So last week we were talking about adjectives, and I said adjectives modify nouns, but they also modify pronouns as well. You don't see it as often having an adjective in front of a pronoun, but it can happen. All right. So one kind of pronoun is called the personal pronoun. Now, and this, of course, is used in place of a person's name. So a personal pronoun can also refer to a thing. All right. So if it's a thing, we can say it in place of that word. All right. So for example, down here at the bottom of the screen, Tina got the last cart. It had a squeaky wheel. So instead of saying Tina got the last cart, the cart had a squeaky wheel. And instead of saying cart again, we can just say it had a squeaky wheel. All right, because it refers to the cart. All right. a couple more things that we want to cover here. Pronouns are classified by gender, name, and person. So let's go with the number first. All right, so pronouns that refer to one thing are going to be singular, of course. Pronouns that refer to more than one thing will be plural. So we just studied about singular nouns and plural nouns. So, pretty easy. We've become familiar with that. Now, gender, on the other hand, we have not looked at that in probably a few weeks. Pronouns that refer to males are masculine. So here are your pronouns that are masculine: he, him, and his. Now, pronouns that refer to females are feminine. All right. So if you're using a pronoun for, let's say, a woman, okay, you can say she, her, and hers. And then, of course, pronouns that refer to things or animals are neutral. Okay. So you can say it or its. Now, with my, I don't have any dogs currently, but I love dogs. And I typically would not call my dog an it, but I'm sure there's plenty of times where we've called some kind of animal an it. All right. So not quite an animal, but like a spider. Okay. It's an insect, but I would not, I don't like even saying the word spider because, and that is one of my little things that I'm afraid of. One of my big fears is spiders and bugs. But I might say, please kill it. Okay. Or please take it outside. All right. So referring to a thing or an animal. All right. And then we have person. All right. So some pronouns refer to the person who is speaking. All right. So if you have the person who is speaking, this is known as a first person pronoun. And we'll be taking a look at all of these below in just a moment. Other pronouns we have is called second person pronouns. Now, a second person pronoun will refer to the person who is spoken to. And then third person pronouns refer to other people, places, or things. So when we talk about that, we're also going to be looking at singular first person, singular second person, singular third person. Then we're going to be looking at plural first person, plural second person, and plural third person. Okay, so I'm going to scoot this up, the screen up. And as you look at this, think about what it said above. So first person pronouns. Okay, they refer to the person who is speaking. So first person singular, I could say I went to bed. Okay, me, my, that's my backpack. All right, or you can say mine, and that is the person who is speaking. First person plural, so it's more than one. We, us, our, ours. Okay, I can say we live in the suburbs. Okay, suburbs meaning right outside of the main city, right? That is our Aunt Clara. Okay, so again, that is referring to the person who is speaking. All right, as for second person, all right, singular and plural are the same. It's just the meaning and the way that you're speaking. Okay, so if second person is referring to the person that you're going to speak to. Okay, so we're going to use you your, and yours as singular, and you, your, and yours as plural. All right. So if I say something like, do you want to go to the store with me? Okay. Is that your mother? All right. Now, as for second person plural, I'm going to be speaking to that other person. All right. But I might say, do you want to go to the store? And I might be looking at maybe my two kids when I'm saying that. And so I'm not just talking to one. Okay. I'd be talking to both of them. So more than one would be plural. So I could say, do you want to go to the store with me? I might also say to the class, how do you feel about this math problem? Okay. And I would be talking to more than one student. Okay. And then we have third person. Now, third person, we said, refers to other people, places, or things. So third person singular would be he, she, him, her, it, his, hers, its. So I can say he went to the store, she went to the store. Let's see. This is her backpack. Okay. And then of course I can use these in a different number of ways and in a sentence. Okay. So these are when you're talking about someone else and you're referring to these other people, places, or things. Okay. Third person plural, of course, is more than one. They, them, their, and theirs. So when you see THEIR or THEIRS, you're referring to people. Okay. So I can say they went to the county fair. That is their niece beside of them. Okay. So I'm now referring to other people or places or things. Okay, so let's get some practice here. We want to underline the personal pronoun in each sentence. Then we're going to circle the noun that it refers back to. Okay, so number one, Alex checked the equipment one last time. And then he set off for the mountaintop. So I want you to pause your screen and underline the personal pronoun and then circle the noun, or you can even draw an arrow back to the noun that it refers to. All right, so in this particular sentence, the pronoun that I see is he. All right, and the noun that it refers to is, I'm going to draw an arrow. I like to draw arrows instead of circle, is Alex. He is referring to Alex. All right, number two, Phil, will you water the flowers by the front door? Go ahead and pause your screen. So the personal pronoun in here would be you. That is second person. And so since we are referring to Phil, this would actually be second person singular. All right, because Phil is only one person. All right, second person singular. Now, number three is kind of hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one. The lawyers presented their final arguments to the jury. Take a moment and pause your screen. Okay, so like I said, it's kind of hard to see, but the word there. All right, now this is third person plural, right? Because you're referring to someone else. Okay, and so the word there we refer to people when we talk about their, okay? And so this is going to refer back to lawyers. All right. So you can do the other three on your own. Let me know if there's any questions about any of these that you need help with. All right, next page. Personal pronouns can be used as subjects of sentences, as objects, or to show possession. So for each use, there are special forms. Okay, so use the following pronouns as subjects in sentences or clauses. So I, we, you, he, she, it, or they. Okay, so these can be used as subjects in a sentence. Okay, so instead of saying like, let's see, Maria went to the store. Maria could be, it's a noun, but it can also be the subject, okay, of the sentence. And so I could say she went to the store in place of that noun, okay? Whenever we go to a Mexican restaurant, I always order burritos. Now, we is going to be a first person plural first person plural pronoun, right? It's more than one person, and it includes yourself in that part of the sentence. But then over here, the word I is first person singular because it's also that you're included in that, okay? But you're pointing out yourself and what you order. So first person plural and first person singular. Now, use the following pronouns as objects of verbs or prepositions. So you can use the words me, us, you, him, her, it, or them. So for a couple examples, the waitress served me before she served them. So when we're talking about the objects here, it says here that each pronoun is used as an object of the verb served. So who did she serve? She served them, okay? And then she also served me. All right, so that is your object right there of that verb served. Another example, she brought the food to us quickly. All right, so the object of the preposition to, okay, to us. So it's referring back to the object to. Let's see, a little bit more here before we get some practice. Now, often a pronoun is part of a compound subject or a compound object. So, for example, Grace and I love the tacos at the restaurant. Okay, so Grace and I would be the compound subject, compound meaning two, right? But on the other hand, it's turned around into using Grace and me as a compound object. So the hostess always seats Grace and me next to the window. Now, the way, a lot of times we get a little confused on, wait a minute, should I say Grace and I or Grace and me? I'm not sure which way to use this, okay? So when you write a sentence with a compound construction, you're probably going to become confused about which pronoun form to use. So it might help to drop the noun that is used with the pronoun and try to say the sentence using the pronoun only. So your ear may actually tell you which is the correct form. So if I was to do number one, Grace and I, all right, love the tacos at this restaurant. I'm going to go ahead and drop the word Grace. Now that is the actual noun. And of course, the word I is the pronoun. So let's get rid of Grace and let's see if it makes sense with just the pronoun by itself. I love the tacos at this restaurant. And it does make sense. Okay. Now, the hostess always seats Grace and me next to the window. So if I take out the noun, Grace, and the word and, the conjunction, the hostess always seats me next to the window. Now that does make sense. But what if I was to say, I tried to put Grace and I in here? All right, so we're going to go ahead and take out Grace and we're going to read it and see if it makes sense. The hostess always seats I next to the window, and that does not sound right, okay? You would definitely want to use Grace and me instead, okay? All right, so we'll use that ideas that they just gave us. We'll use that in just a minute when we're looking at this. Number 1, A, the librarian read them a story about a talking dog. 1B, the librarian read they a story about a talking dog. So take a moment and pause your screen and choose which one you believe is the correct answer. All right, so the librarian read them a story about a talking dog. So you had to decide between them and they. And it all has to do with the subject and the object. Okay, so the librarian read them, okay, a story. Let's take a look at number 3. That might be the little bit harder one here. Please repeat the instructions for Mr. Forelli and I. Or is it 3B? Please repeat the instructions for Mr. Forelli and me. Pause your screen and choose your answer. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to take out the words Mr. Forelli and, okay? And we're going to see which one makes sense without Mr. Forelli in it. All right, please repeat the instructions for I. Please repeat the instructions for me. All right, so this would be the object, okay? It would be me, so this would be the correct one, okay? Let's see. Number 4 can be a little tricky also because you may have to change the verb in it just slightly, okay? So 4A, Dad and me are going to the ballpark tonight. Or is it 4B, Dad and I are going to the ballpark tonight? So pause your screen and choose your answer. All right, so if we go ahead and scribble out Dad and Dad and, now here's the thing, again, you may have to change the verb slightly for it to fit in this particular sentence. So me are going to the ballpark tonight. Now the word me, okay, is singular. All right, it's singular and it's first person. Okay, here's the thing, when we learned about verbs, we learned that the word are is plural. That's why they're using the word are in here, is because you have a compound subject here. All right. And so when you have a compound subject, you would be using a plural verb. Okay. But now we took that plural off of here and now we have singular. So that's why I'm saying that you may have to slightly change the verb. But even if you did that, you could say, me am going. And that doesn't sound right. And it doesn't even sound right, me are going. But if you go down here and you say I, and you take out the word are, and you put in a singular verb like am, I am going to the ballpark tonight. That does make sense. Okay, so a little bit harder one here, but B is the correct answer. Okay, let's do one more on this page. Number 5. 5A, we 3 sisters all share one bedroom. Or 5B, us 3 sisters all share one bedroom. Okay, pause your screen and choose your answer. All right, so let's take out the words 3 sisters out of both of these. All right, we can do that to test and see which one sounds better and works grammatically. We all share one bedroom. Us all share one bedroom. Nope, it has to be A. It does not make sense. This is we is first person plural. Okay, so it doesn't even sound right. It does not grammatically work if you use us. All right, on to the next page. Some personal pronouns show ownership or possession, and they are called possessive pronouns. Now, unlike possessive nouns that use apostrophes to indicate ownership, possessive pronouns do not use apostrophes. Okay, so for example, with possessive pronouns, the chefs in the competition took great care with their special desserts. Now, when you use the word their, it could, in this particular sentence, it refers to the noun chefs, right? Because THEIR is plural for a person or people, I'm sorry. So it's going to refer back to chefs, okay? And the word there is a possessive pronoun. Okay, so if I say something like, that cake, that is her cake. Okay, that cake is hers. That shows possession of that particular item. Okay, so first person, remember that includes yourself, that it would be with you. First person singular possessive is my, mine. That is my purse. That purse is mine. Okay, and it's showing possession. First person plural is our and ours. That is our aunt and uncle. They are, let's see. I'm going to think of another sentence for ours. Second person. Now that's when you're talking to another person, right? Second person singular possessive, your and yours. Second person plural possessive, your and yours. So if I took my pen and I said, is this your pen? This pen is yours. Okay, I would be talking to one person. But if I'm talking to more than one person, and I could say, whose pen is this? Is this yours? Okay, so that would be plural possessive. And then of course, third person would be third person singular. You're referring to someone else or something else. Okay, would be his, her, hers, and its. And then, of course, third person plural possessive, their and theirs. That is their father. Okay. And that's showing possessive pronoun. Okay. Over the ownership of their father. Okay. So most possessive pronouns have two forms. Now, one form is used as a noun. So you could say, my home. Okay. You can also say our home, your home, her home, their friends. Okay, so that is one form that's used with a noun. The other form is used by itself, like mine, ours, yours, hers, and theirs. So it all depends on how you say and how you use that pronoun in a sentence. I can say again, this is your pen. This pen is yours. So I slightly changed my sentence so I could use the other form of that possessive pronoun, that second person pronoun. Okay. Let's see. Another example. The choice is yours. This is your choice. Okay, so it all depends, again, how you say it in the sentence. Since pronouns take the place of nouns, they should match the numbers. I'm sorry, they should match the nouns they replace in number, gender, and person. So you want to say something like, the queen called for her ladies in waiting, because we know primarily when we're talking about a queen, we're talking about a female. It would sound very wrong if you were to say the queen called for his ladies in waiting. So you may run into something like that where it could be a different number or genders or gender or person. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Another thing is queen, okay, is singular. All right. And her is also singular. You wouldn't want to say the queen called for hers ladies and waiting, right? Because queen would be singular and hers would be more of using it as an object of the sentence for queen. Okay. Let's see. Let's get some practice at this. So first thing you're going to do is 1 through 5, underline the possessive pronoun in each sentence. Then you're going to either circle or draw an arrow back to the word that it refers to. So these are pretty easy when you're looking at these. I'm going to make this screen a little bit smaller. So you might be able to see the top as you're getting used to this. Okay. At the very top, you have your singular possessive pronouns and you've got your plural possessive pronouns. All right. So any of these words could be used in the following sentences. Number 1, grandfather is assembling photos of all his grandchildren. Go ahead and pause your screen and choose your answer. Okay, so the answer to number 1 is the possessive pronoun would be his, and his is going to be referring to, let's see. I want to make sure I'm doing this right. His would be referring to grandfather. Okay, because it you know who is him or his, it's grandfather. Okay, let me make sure though. All right, good. Okay, how about number 2? Michelle has knitted scarves for her relatives. So choose your possessive pronoun. Sorry. All right, your possessive pronoun would be her. And who is her? Now that would be referring to Michelle. Okay, let's try another one. I'm going to make the screen a little bit bigger. All right, so let's see. Let's do number 5. It's a little bit, just a tad bit harder. I shivered when the mountain cast its long shadow across the field. All right, take a moment and pause your screen. All right, so you might have noticed that the word I is a pronoun. Now, it is not a possessive pronoun, okay? It's a personal pronoun. So we're not going to have anything to do with the word I, okay? We're looking for possessive pronouns. And the possessive pronoun in number 5 is very, very small, but it's the word it's. And it's referring to the mountain. Okay, so it's is the possessive pronoun of mountain. All right, number 6. So we're going to underline the possessive pronoun that correctly completes each sentence. So this should be pretty easy. I'm going to jump over to 10. Sometimes students have a little problem with there, and there, right? So we have there, and there. All right, so when you're saying the last one, THERE, you're referring to a place. Now, the first two are referring to people. But here's what you're going to do when you're trying to figure out which one of the first two to use. You always try to separate THEY''RE. Separate that into they are and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then you're going to use THEIR. So again, THERE, the last one is a place. The first two are people. So let's try to read this. Ellen and Ted. Now those are compound subjects, so it makes this plural. I'm sorry, Aline and Ted have bought a new table for their apartment. So they have bought a new table for they are apartment. No, that doesn't sound right. Have bought a new table for they are apartment. Nope. So we're going to choose the second answer, THEIR, and that sounds much better. All right, here is your checkup. Okay, and you can do this page all on your own. And we're going to go on to the next section and other kinds of pronouns. So for the other kinds of pronouns, it says here that there are several other kinds of pronouns besides personal pronouns. Okay, we're going to name a couple different ones here. First, we have what's called the demonstrative pronouns. Now, the demonstrative pronouns, I call these the 4 T's. Okay, this, that, these, and those, because they're actually pointing out particular persons, places, or things. So to kind of separate these 4 demonstrative pronouns, you do need to know, well, 2 of these are singular and 2 of these words are plural. So let's take a look at that. Now, this and that would be used when you're talking about something singular. This is my book. Now, book is singular. This is my book. That book over there is mine. Okay, so again, I'm using that to talk about the book. okay? And it is singular. Now, these and those would be considered plural. Are those your socks? Okay. And of course, it is pointing out a particular thing, right? But it is plural. Are these your socks? Okay. Now, demonstrative pronouns may be used alone, or they can modify nouns. So, for example, Owen planted this tree. Now, remember the word this right here is singular. So this is Owen's tree, and tree is singular. So that's why we want to use this. Now, those shoes are muddy. Those are muddy shoes. Okay. And of course, we said here, these and those are plural. Okay. So if you think about what it refers to is shoes, and shoes are plural, that is the correct one to use. You would not want to say this shoes or that shoes are muddy. It doesn't work because shoes is plural. So you need a plural demonstrative pronoun. All right. So just remember demonstrative pronouns, those are the 4 T's. Let's move on to the next one, what we call relative pronoun. Okay. Now, a relative pronoun introduces a relative clause. And what that means is a relative clause is a group of words with a subject and a predicate that refers back to a noun or pronoun in the main part of the sentence. So take a moment and reread that. Now, you may ask, what is a subject and a predicate? Well, we had said that a subject could be a noun or nouns like Nancy or Nancy and Tammy. Okay, so Nancy would be one subject. Nancy and Tammy would be a compound subject. Now, a predicate, typically when I refer to a predicate, I refer to a verb. Now, let me tell you what they refer to it as in grammar, in the grammar area, is they refer to a predicate as the verb and all of the rest of the sentence, not the subject. So if we said something like Adam went to the store, Adam would be the subject, went to the store would be the predicate. But like I said, I tend to think of the predicate as more of a verb. Okay. So unlike a complete sentence, the relative clause cannot stand on its own. Relative pronouns. So here we go. They include the following: who, whom, whose, which, and that. All right. Now, I call it the 4 W's with the T. Now, you may have noticed that the word that is already up there with the demonstrative pronouns, because we said demonstrative pronouns are the 4 T's. So just be aware that relative pronouns are the 4 W's, but it also could use the word that as a relative pronoun. Okay. Now, again, as we said at the top with the demonstrative pronouns, that this and that are used as singular demonstrative pronouns. Those and these are used as plural demonstrative pronouns. All right. So there is going to be a slightly different way that you may use these 4 W words. Okay. Let's see. You're going to use who as the subject of a clause and whom as the object. So you need to use who and whom to refer to people, of course. Okay. You would not want to say, that is my, let's see. Instead of saying, who are you referring to? I would not want to say, which are you referring to? All right. Because who would be a person, and which are you referring to when you're talking about a person would not work, because right here it says you need to use that and which to refer to a thing, not a person. Okay, so let's go on down here and look at a couple examples here. The admirer who sent the flowers included a card. So we're going to be using the word who because it refers to the admirer. All right. And so we're bringing it back to using who, and it says here that would be the subject of the clause. And that's why we're using this. We're not using this as the object, okay, of the clause. Now on the second one, the dog that won first place was a collie. Now we're using the word that because it refers back to the dog, and we're not saying that the dog is a person. So that's why we're not using who and whom. All right. We're talking about what they would say, a thing. All right. And that's why we're using the word that, is because it says in the last sentence, use that and which to refer to a thing, not a person. So if you want to pause your screen and reread through this again, I highly advise it, because it can be a little confusing when you're going from demonstrative pronouns with the 4 T's, okay? And you're trying to remember everything about that. And now they're springing a lot of information on you when it comes to relative pronouns. Okay, so we're going to get a little practice here. Remember, again, the demonstrative pronouns are the 4 T's. So 1 through 5, you're going to underline the demonstrative pronoun in each sentence. I want you to go ahead and do all 5 right now. So pause your screen. These are very easy. All right. Are these sweaters on sale today? Your demonstrative pronoun, like we said, are the 4 T's. These would be considered a demonstrative pronoun. Number 2, who wrote the words to that song? Now we're only looking for demonstrative. We're not looking for relative, okay? Because relative would be who, but we're not being asked to do that. We're being asked to underline only the demonstrative pronouns. So it would be that. Number 3, that was an exception to the rule. Again, that. Okay. And if you look at these right here, like the word that, it's being used as a singular pronoun here, a singular demonstrative pronoun. Okay. And of course, up here, we're using this as a plural demonstrative pronoun because it's referring to sweaters. Number 4, this resume seems most impressive to the boss. And the demonstrative pronoun is this. And of course, this is referring to the resume, and resume is singular. So that is why we want to choose this instead of these are the resumes, or these resumes, or these resume seems most impressive. So you wouldn't want to say that, right? You would want to use the singular form of a demonstrative pronoun instead of a plural. All right, you shouldn't eat fatty foods. So stay away from those donuts. And your correct answer would be those. Now, those are referring to donuts. We know that donuts are plural, right? So we're using the plural form of a demonstrative pronoun. Okay, the next section is circle the relative pronoun in each sentence. Draw an arrow from the relative pronoun to the noun or the pronoun it refers to. So just let me remind you that the relative pronoun is going to be the 4 W's and the word that. Okay. Go ahead and read 6 through 8. Okay, and go ahead and complete 6 through 8. Pause your screen, and then we'll discuss it. All right, number 6, the hero to whom the medal was given accepted it shyly. So your relative pronoun here is whom, and this is actually the object, okay? It says to whom, and it's the object of hero. So that's why we're not, it's not the subject, okay, of the sentence. We're referring to this as the object of the sentence, hero, okay? Number 7, the mansion that was pictured in the magazine is open to the public. Now, I know this was probably a little harder to see, but your relative pronoun is going to be that, okay? And that's referring back to the mansion. Okay, so of course, mansion is singular. All right, so we've got that, which would be singular also. Number 8, whisper the secret password to a woman who has a red rose on her lapel. And the only relative pronoun that I see in here would be who. All right. And who is referring to woman. All right. So it's the subject that is. All right. And you can do the other 2 on your own. Let's see. Now we have our third kind. Now I know that the demonstrative and the relative, that we covered that when we did the language M usage. But now we have reflexive pronouns. Actually, I find reflexive pronouns very, very easy to spot. And the reason why is your reflexive pronouns, they always end in self or selves. And of course, self is singular and selves are plural. So they're really easy to spot. Okay, I would say out of the 3 different kinds of pronouns, I always like the reflexive the best. Okay, I would probably say reflexive pronouns are my favorite out of the 3. I would say that I would find the demonstrative pronouns probably to be my second easiest one, because those are the 3 T's, right? This, that, those, and these. And then, of course, the relative pronouns with the 4 W's and the word that. That's my order. I don't know what you think, but let's take a look. First person. Now, this is going to be when you refer to, you are included in this. Okay. So first person singular would be myself. First person plural, ourselves, because you're including yourself in that, right? Second person singular, yourself. Second person plural, slightly different, yourselves. And then third person singular, himself, herself, itself. And then, of course, third person plural, themselves. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple examples here of reflexive pronouns. A reflexive pronoun reflects an action to a noun or a pronoun that's used earlier in the sentence. So for example, you should dress yourself in layers if you're going hiking. Now, yourself, you know, how it said that it refers to a noun or pronoun earlier in the sentence. This would be referring to the word you. Okay. And we're using that as a singular reflexive pronoun, right? Because we're only talking about one person. Okay. The second example, will Kim himself, now Kim is being used as a male's name. Okay. And that is quite common in some cultures to use a female type name more for a male. Okay. And vice versa. Will Kim himself carry the backpack up the mountain? And himself is referring to Kim. So of course that is third person singular reflexive pronoun. Okay. And actually there's a fourth one. I forgot about the indefinite pronouns. Okay. Now, indefinite pronouns, these are going to refer to people, places, and things in a general way, not to specific persons, places, or things. So some of the indefinite pronouns, and I'm going to go ahead and underline this, refer to people, places, and things in a general way. So some indefinite pronouns are always singular. Some are always plural. And then you can have a few that could be either singular or plural. Okay, so you might have a word like all. Okay, and that indefinite pronoun could be used either way, singular or plural. Okay, and it all depends on how it's being used. So if the pronoun refers to a single quantity, as in all of the book, then of course it's singular. If it refers to plural items like all of the words, okay, because the word words is a plural word, okay, then we're going to use the indefinite pronoun all in that circumstance. So let's take a look. So indefinite pronouns, I wouldn't say I don't like them. They're just the special ones that are kind of like, okay, here's some keywords and you kind of got to remember. Okay. Singular indefinite pronouns: anybody, anyone, anything, each, either, everybody, everyone, everything, much, neither, nobody, no one, nothing, one, somebody, someone, something. So all of those are singular indefinite pronouns. Okay, so if you see any of those words, then you should know that it's an indefinite pronoun. Now, there's just a few that's going to be plural, you know, straight plural. Both, okay, few, many, and several. And then the other ones that could either be singular or plural, depending on how you use it, would be all, more, most, none, and some. So let's look at our examples or our problems below. All right, what we're going to do, there's 8 problems, so we'll do about 4. It says here that we need to underline the reflexive and indefinite pronouns in each sentence. Now, once you underline them, okay, then on the line to the left, you need to either write REF for reflexive or IND for indefinite. Okay, like I said, reflexive, very, very easy. It ends in self and selves. Okay, so those ones, the reflexive ones, you should be able to spot right off the bat. Okay, number 1, Kim made herself a pot of hot, strong coffee this morning. Pause your screen and take a moment to find which is the reflexive and indefinite. All right, number 1 is herself, okay? And so this is definitely reflexive. For right now, I'm just gonna put an R, so R-E-F. Number 2, will everyone in the department get a raise? Go ahead and pause your screen. Okay, so for number 2, the word, the pronoun in here is going to be everyone. And it's in that box on the page before, all right? And this would be considered a indefinite pronoun. Okay, let's go down to number 5. Some of the excitement died down after the bride and groom left. Go ahead and pause your screen and find either the reflexive or the indefinite. All right, so for number 5, it is actually an indefinite pronoun. It's kind of hard to pick this one out, okay? But it would be the word some. All right, now that is on the, actually right above here. And the word some is actually being used as the third box over to the right as either a singular or plural, okay? So we're talking about some of the excitement. Now, excitement would be considered a, it's kind of a general word, but we could say it's singular. And so some would be singular in this case. All right, number 6. Most of the people who saw the movie liked it. Go ahead and pause your screen. All right, so for number 6, your pronoun would be most, okay? And of course, that's another indefinite pronoun, all right? And the word most is being used over in the third box again, where it says either singular or plural. Now, it is referring to most of the people. So, of course, that would be used as more of a plural indefinite pronoun. All right. So you can finish up 3, 4, 7, and 8 on your own. And we're going to go on to the next page. Now, the next page here is going to be, of course, open-ended answers. Okay. But what I would say is have that page in front of you with all of your different options. Okay. For the relative pronouns, remember they end in self and selves. The relative pronouns are the 4 W's with the word that. The demonstrative pronouns are the 4 T's. And then, of course, lastly, the indefinite pronouns would be the 3 boxes. Okay. So again, A lot of those words are going to work. You just have to pick the right particular words, okay? So you could have more than one answer for each question, okay? So in the first one, we want to pick a demonstrative pronoun, all right? And remember, demonstrative pronouns are the 4 T's, okay? This, that, these, and those. You want to make sure, though, that you look at the word that it refers to so you know if you're going to use this and that for singular or these and those for plural, okay? Ask the movers to take blank dishes into the kitchen. So we know it's got to be those 4 words. And the word that it's referring to is dishes. And we know that dishes would be plural. So we could say, ask the movers to take these dishes into the kitchen. Or we can say, ask the movers to take those dishes into the kitchen. All right. Number 2. This right here is going to be, a reflexive pronoun. All right. So it's got to end in self or selves. The king blank attended the ceremony. So we got to go with gender. We know that the king is male. We know that it's only one king. So we're going to use the king himself. We would never want to say himself because king is singular. So himself. Now, I think that's the only word that would fit in that particular one. All right. Number 3, we need to choose an indefinite pronoun. So the indefinite pronoun, you have a few different choices, right? From the box list. And it's the 4th one that we talked about. So blank of the heat is going to the upstairs bedroom. Blank of the heat is going to the upstairs bedroom. So there are a few different options that you can use in this sentence. I want you to take a moment, pause your screen, and think of at least a couple of them, of the indefinite pronouns that you could use. All right, so you could say all of the heat is going to the upstairs bedrooms. We could also say some of the heat is going upstairs to the upstairs bedrooms. We can also say most of the heat is going to the upstairs bedrooms. Let's see. All, some. Oh, we can also say none. None of the heat is going to the upstairs bedrooms. All right, I'm going to jump to number 5 just because I think, reflexive, we have already done an example of that. And I think it's pretty easy. Number 5, we want to choose a relative pronoun. Now, remember, relative pronouns are the 4 W's and the word that. Okay, so who, whom, which, and who, whom, whose, which, and that. So the first 3 are referring to people, right? Who, whom, and whose. The last 2, which and that, are referring to things. Okay. I am tired of salespeople blank call at dinner time. I am tired of salespeople blank call at dinner time. So go ahead and pause your screen and take a moment to figure out what you want to use. All right, so for number 5, you're actually referring to salespeople. So we know that we would need to use one of the four W's, who, whom, and whose, to fill in that blank because we're talking about a person. So we're going to use the word who. All right. And I am tired of salespeople who call at dinner time. All right. And let's see, let's try at least one more. How about a demonstrative pronoun for number 6? Number 6, blank is the title of our book club's next selection. Remember, the demonstrative pronouns are the 4 T's. Okay. All right. Blank is the title of our book club's next selection. Okay, so for this one right here, we could try out with think about the singular versus the plural. All right. This one, let's see. We're referring back to the title of the book, right? And so title is singular. All right. So we would need to use either this or that. This is the title of our book club's next selection. That is the title of our book club's next selection. So you can use either one, this or that, and either one would work in there. Okay. Let's try, let's see what's left here. All right, let's look at number 9. It's an indefinite pronoun. Blank of the desserts look delicious. All right, so pause your screen and choose at least one answer. All right, so for number 9, you could use all of the desserts look delicious. None of the desserts look delicious. Some of the desserts look delicious. Let's see, most of the desserts look delicious. Okay, so you can use, that's kind of open-ended right there where those particular ones will work for that. The questions below here, number 11 through 15, no, I'm sorry, 11 through 16, you can write a sentence using those pronouns in a sentence, okay? I'm gonna make that optional. And then here's your checkup, okay? Let's do a couple of these, okay? Let's see. Let's do number 2. The sound system in this theater is excellent. And what our directions say is choose the pronoun in each sentence. So you're looking for the pronoun. Number 2, the sound system in this theater is excellent. All right, so the answer to number 2 would be this. All right, that is going to be considered a demonstrative pronoun, the 4 T's, right? This, that, these, and those. So this is a demonstrative pronoun. All right, let's choose number 6. We blank were we blank were surprised when our team won the championship. Pause your screen and choose your answer. All right, for number 6, when you look at the word we, that is first person plural. So you've got to be able to choose a first person plural pronoun. Okay. And it's going to be a reflexive pronoun. As you can see, they end in self or selves. And of course, like I said, we is plural. So that means it's got to end in selves. Okay. So that takes out the themself and himself. All right. So it's either going to be, let's see. It's got to either be we ourselves were surprised when our team won, or we ourselves. Okay. Now, this all has to do with spelling between H and J. Which one is spelled correctly? And that would be H. We ourselves were surprised when our team won the championship. When you have the plural version of selves, it's not going to be spelled S-E-L-F-S. Okay. It's going to be spelled S-E-L-V-E-S. Okay. So that would be the plural form. Actually, since we're going on 2 hours, I'm going to have to stop right here. I wanted to get this last section in, but I've run out of time. So this is actually where we're going to be picking up after spring break, is making pronouns agree with their antecedents. Okay, so have a good day, and I will see you after spring break. Have a good day.